kiss for you.
Hello. So today we're going to be talking about something quite interesting that I at least think is interesting, and I hope you do too, and that's laptops. So buried in my recent Ultimate Tech Guide sort of video components, Ultimate whatever it was called, I talked about laptops and sort of the different types of laptops that you can buy and you can have, and what the different features of them and stuff like that. This video is kind of going to be a companion to that because not everyone wants to scroll through an hour and 10-minute video to find specifically that component, and it wasn't super well done because I did the entire thing in one take. But let's kind of back up a little bit and sort of explain it further. So, laptops are portable machines that are like desktops. You can take them around with you. They have a battery. You probably know what a laptop is. I picked Dell in this case to sort of describe laptops because they kind of have what I would consider a great variety of laptop types. Right now, we'll open up two of them and I'll show you. So there are four main types of laptops. There are four main types of laptops. There's normal productivity laptops, ultrabook performance laptops, gaming laptops, and workstation laptops. And they're split up into those categories because that's mainly how people end up using them. So we'll go for home and look at the normal laptops now. Now, you might say, okay, what's the difference between 2-in-1 and a normal productivity laptop? And the answer is, well, actually nothing. And we'll get to that in a minute. So companies will try and mush up the complexity of their laptop for the sake of it, right? So you see, for instance, the Type 2. So we're not going to start. So Type 2 is, I guess, what you would say the premium version of Type. Type 1 is just your standard laptop, right? Your Lenovo ThinkPads, your Dell Inspiron, your Acer, Aspire things, your Chromebooks, right? Those are your normal laptop type machines, Asus ZenBook, that kind of thing. Those were considered relatively cheap, $600, $700, $800, $900 machines that do productivity stuff well enough. They're usually made of plastic or cheaper materials. They may or may not have a touchscreen, right? Doesn't necessarily matter. One good example, Inspiron, right here. This Dell Inspiron series. Let's get one that doesn't look utter trash. There's a lot of pages. So Dell is also a good example of how many possible pages you can get in a laptop. Yeah, this is good. No. Dell Inspiron 15. Actually 13. Yeah, this one's fine. This is a new Inspiron 13. This is what's considered a standard laptop, as you can see. And once it loads, it has a relatively standard design. This actually looks pretty good. But as you can see, it's thin. Relatively, it has a keyboard, trackpad, camera, relatively thicker design with things like an Ethernet jack, that kind of stuff. This one is actually pretty spec'd up with an i7, Windows 11, Iris 16 gig 512, and a 1080p display for about $1,000, which is pretty good in this market currently. And that's your pretty much standard laptop design. So it can come in 2-in-1 or not, as you can see. 2-in-1s are basically you can flip over and the display will be a touch screen. That's still a form of this, what I call standard laptop category. Benefits of a standard laptop are price. It's usually cheaper. Repairability. It usually has repairable parts that you can repair yourself. Cheaper repairability. And they last relatively a long time, right? They're not going to break randomly. As long as you get something of some quality, they're not just going to break randomly. So it's price, repairability, durability is really the benefits of this thing. Now, the flip side of that, in terms of the more premium market value, is the XPS line of Dell. So if the Inspiron is the normal laptops, the XPS is the Ultrabook, priority, premium, productivity, whatever experience. These are very similar, except they are usually larger in a lot of cases. They're usually built with higher quality materials. So like aluminum and a glass trackpad and better quality keyboard, better quality screen, right? Components are usually of a higher quality, which obviously comes with a higher price. So you might say, why would I get an Ultrabook that has better materials if it's going to cost more and there's not a super big advantage to using an Ultrabook versus a normal productivity laptop? And I would say to that, because people like style and they like to feel style, as much as weird as that sounds, right? So the XPS 15 is, I guess, the definition of big style, right? It's thin, it has like no ports, so you're better off getting a productivity laptop. Trackpad's bigger, screen's bigger, speakers are weaker somehow, right? It's super thin relatively, it's portable, right? But it also has drawbacks. The price is more, usually. It actually, in this case, has worse specs because we have a UHD graphics instead of Intel Z, whatever. It has, in this case, a worse i5 instead of the i7. So if we were to look at them directly, this is an i7, Intel Z, 16 gigs of disgustingly fast memory. Yes, this is an i5, so that's worse. It's UHD, which is worse than this. It has 8 gigs, so let's move that up to 13. Oh my god, oh, that's only this month, yeah. So we have 8 gigs of slower and the same then. But as you can see, this is, why did it just go up in price? Oh, because I chose 5, okay. Yeah, this is 1400 versus this, which is 980, and this has some better specs. And that just goes to show you that it's very different, right? There is a premium to be had with these devices. Again, the materials, the speakers are usually better, the screen's usually better, the trackpad, the keyboard, how thin it is, how usually that means lightweight as well. And these are kind of the premium designed laptops as stage 2, I guess. And then you kind of move into a different category, if I could navigate Dell's horribly managed site, and you get into the G series and the Alienware, because Dell has 2 different versions of the same thing. And these are your gaming laptops. These are beefy, thermally disgusting laptops that are used for gaming and have, dedicated GPUs and stuff, and typically beefed up specs and typically beefed up prices. Let's just choose this one, because I think it's a good comparison between these. So these are 15-inch, looks right. So this is a gaming laptop. Main advantages, obviously, you can game on it. It has typically better specs because you can game on it. Yeah, better specs and repairability, upgradability, right? Repairability, upgradability, the ability to upgrade your components. Those are main 2 advantages, is that it can game, better specs, and upgradability. So in this case, it's a 15-inch one. Some of the downsides, as you can clearly see, is it looks horrible compared to even something normal, like a Inspiron 13, but this can game, right? It has a 10th Gen i5, which is worse than this 11th Gen i7. It has Windows 11. This one has Windows 11. It says Iris Z graphics. This one has a GTX 1650, which will give you the equivalent power of about a piece of toaster. So that's cool. 8 gigs of slow memory compared to 16 gigs of fast memory. And smaller hard drive and about the same screen. Now you may say, hey, those specs sound awful for the price. And you're right. They are pretty bad. But it has 120 hertz, which means fast motion for your gaming. This one does not have 120 hertz. This one is also anti-glare, LED backlit, right? It's a WVA panel, so that's typically better for color and for gaming versus this, also a WVA panel. So that's quite interesting. We have this gaming laptop, and you may say, hey, why would I get this gaming laptop that's around the same price but relatively worse specs if I'm not gaming? And the answer is you really don't. And that's kind of a weird contention point, because for a long time, gaming laptops were like, you might as well buy a gaming laptop because it's better than buying a like a normal laptop, because comparatively the specs will be better and last longer. But that's really no longer the case at this point, right? The Inspiron 13, I'm actually impressed, because when I looked at like normal what I consider normal laptops, they didn't have 11th gen i7s and Intel Z and super fast memory and a bunch of hard drive space. They would have like an okay processor, okay video UHD card, standard memory, maybe a lot of hard drive space, maybe a good 4K screen or whatever, but like they wouldn't have really fast memory, relatively great video card, and a processor and stuff. And it just kind of show the evolution of where we're going here. This is a really good machine, right? It has enough processing to be able to, like, this here, to put into context, like to compare, I guess, Ultrabooks again, this is better than the computer I have right now. And mine was a MacBook Pro 2018 at like $1,700, and this is like $1,000. It's a better processor just from being 11th gen, not necessarily i7. Intel Z graphics are better than the UHD ones. It has more RAM, it's much faster, has more storage. The only thing different is obviously the screen and some of the materials and stuff, but relatively, I take this and save myself $750. But for a long time, it wasn't that, right? For a long time, in order to get these good specs, you had to go with a gaming laptop. Just relatively how it works. Yeah, so that's gaming laptops. They're usually pretty good for gaming. They have awful battery life. The screen's usually at least pretty good. Some mixed bag in terms of specs and reliability. So ultimately, if you don't need a gaming laptop, I would suggest don't get a gaming laptop. Definitely get so like if you want a game, don't necessarily get a gaming laptop, get a desktop, right? Get like this Inspiron 13 or maybe an XPS if you want something more premium for your laptop, and then get a desktop HP or Dell or Main Gear, one of those for gaming, right? It just makes more sense because those are usually better quality just in general than something like a G15, right? So that's really where we're staying with gaming laptops. The fourth type of laptop is for productivity. Now you may be confused because the other two laptops I just mentioned were also productivity. But this is like real productivity. This is like I need to go do some CAD modeling simulations. And that's why, as you can see, that this is a relatively low $1,000. This is $1,000. The other options on this space, you can get up to like $1,600 with the special edition one that has a 3060 in it, right? But then we have like the Dell Latitude, which is like a lot more. It's $3,700. Now you may see, why is this $3,700 when it has a 3-year-old processor, no RAM, awful storage, and it looks like garbage? And that's because this is for people that need to go to space, but also need a laptop. And since they're going to space, they're not actually paying for this laptop. So it can look like this and have these specs and be $4,000 and mean literally nothing. Let's upgrade this to something usable. So if we were to upgrade this to something usable, the processor requires an additional 3 battery cells. What is that supposed to mean? How do I fix that? More RAM. Intel Pro features, sure. Let's upgrade it with a an SSD. Interesting. So, right, you may say, why is this like $4,000? These are professional laptops, which may seem odd, but these are for like people that need to like be near a volcano or something, and also need a laptop, or something that needs to be like near Mercury or like on Mars or whatever, and need to use a laptop. This is kind of the laptop you get, right? It's looks like this, and as you can see, specifically designed to look at thermodynamic cameras and stuff, which is pretty fun. It weighs like 50 pounds. And that's mainly what this is for, right? It doesn't need super good specs. It needs to be usable in this environment. And this is clearly usable in the environment, which is fun. If I upgrade this to something functional, I'm not sure these different classes of storage, I doubt it matters. Sealed Rgb Backlit Keyboard? Sure. I need an Rgb Backlit Keyboard on my $4,000 professional machine. Wireless, that sounds good. A broadband card, So let's say I'm near a volcano. I'm probably going to want to not need to rely on the Wi-Fi around the area, so let's upgrade that. I need more cells? Sure, let's get more battery cells in there. Actually, no. Let's see. Does it work? An extra 3 battery cells. I'll make sure to fix that later. Full security package. I want this thing to be secure as possible. Yes, more cells. Okay, this one then. There we go. It's compatible now. Great. I don't need more of that. Hazardous location certification sounds good. Optical drive, camera, RGB camera, expansion card. No, we're good. All right. How much do we end up with? $5,000. That is a steal for one of the worst looking machines I've ever seen. These are not actually workstation laptops. I was joking. This is what you would call absurd, professional, I need to go into a volcano laptops. The actual business laptops are in the for business section. As you can see, they're under workstations, and these are actual workstation laptops. So this is what we call their Precision Mobile line, which I guess is new or something. Let's go for Precision 7750. These, as you can see by the specs, are also beefed up, but they use different components, right? And so like consumer cards are the graphics cards that we talked about before. The Quadro line is their professional line that helps with simulations and rendering and that kind of thing. As you can see, they're doing some body vital work on these machines. They're a little bit more rugged, a little bit more sturdy. They're taken, upgradable usually pretty easily. They have certain specs that you might not see, like classes of M.2s, which are not for consumers to worry about. And they usually have a lot more upgrade options, right? Look at all these upgrade options. There's a lot of them. Chassis, memory, additional memory, third and fourth memory, RAID connectivity, right? Battery sizes. They're a lot more built for professionals, used in fleets of computers, that type of thing. So this is really the main types we want to talk about. We have the normal one, the Ultrabook, the gaming laptops, the rugged super laptops, and then the precision laptops. I use Dell to hopefully talk about that in a light that would make sense. So if you enjoyed this kind of dive into these kind of laptops and what they're kind of used for, if you thought it was useful, then make sure that like, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'll see you all in the next video.